Welcome to T&J Gaming. Today, we're going to be building the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. So, Jason, for all you old 90s kids like myself. Uh, this is part of our month of Power Rangers, the RPG system by Renegade. And I thought, what better way to kind of kick in each month of RPGs to build a PC within the system? Because I feel like the best way to learn a system, at least from my point of view, is to build a character in it. Because you get to see what they find important. You got to see how everything's set up. It just gives you kind of a good feel and kind of even as if you're going to be the GM and you're just going to be running a game, you're not going to have your own character. It gives you a feel of what to expect with the system and different items to include, and what just kind of questions your characters or your players will ask as they're going through. So stay tuned. This will be a great one just to kind of see a little look at the system and kind of what they value. Before we get into that, as I mentioned, this is Power Rangers month. So we've already done our first impressions of the system. We're going to be going into a PC build today. Next week, we're going to have our threat build, which is their monsters for this system. And we're going to build the threat that's going to be going up against our Rangers in our actual live play, which will be on April 5th. So come join us. If you aren't already subscribed to T&J Gaming, subscribe to us on YouTube, but definitely follow us on Twitch. With our Twitch, every Tuesday we do a live play game, usually about 6:30, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, from Star Wars to Mutants and Masterminds to on the April 5th, the Power Rangers system by Renegade. Also with that, so each month we're going to be doing this for a different system, but for Renegade system, we're going to be giving away a gift card to Power Rangers Renegade's publisher. What that'll allow you to do is it'll be enough to go through and buy the PDF of the Power Rangers system. So you'll be able to use it and play it with your table or kind of get your own PC built up for it. This is part of the mission for the T&J game is to get more people into different RPGs. So each month we do this, we'll be giving away either a book if we're able to give away or give away the book or the PDF or a gift card, whatever we can, of the core rule book for the system, just so you can go in there and experience it for yourself and bring it back to your table. So this time we're giving away the gift card for Renegade, the publisher, which I hope you spend on the Mighty Morphins Power Rangers PDF. Or if you don't want the PDF, I got the PDF. I kind of kicking myself now. The art's gorgeous. Definitely worth a hardcover. So if you don't get the PDF, the hardcover is nice too. So that's if you don't spend it on the PDF, spend it on the hardcover. But anything else that Renegades offers will be on the table too. So join us April 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for a chance to win on T&J Gaming Twitch. So we've already touched on that. Let's move on. So we're actually going to go in and build our Power Ranger. So we're doing the Red Ranger, Jason from the original OG Rangers. And we're going to walk through step by step how to build him using the Power Rangers RPG system. And since I utilize Roll20 nowadays, thanks quarantine, for almost all my games, I'm going to show you how to build them on Roll20. Nice thing though is if you don't utilize Roll20, if you do pen and paper or another system, all of these things are applicable to the other systems. So just gives you a good walkthrough on how to use it. So you should now be able to see a little bit of the book. It's more of that gorgeous art I was talking about, but we're going to go through character creation step by step. First step, just define a concept. I mentioned this in Mutants and Masterminds. This is a go-to thing to do. This allows you to be more intentional as you're building out your PC versus just selecting a collection of stats and traits and all of that. This allows you to build out a fully fleshed character where the mechanics support the RP that you have in mind. So for concept, I'm being super basic. I'm building out Jason, the Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin. So we've got a good view of him. He's an athletic guy. He's a martial artist. He's pretty physical, good at leading the team, but definitely kind of really good at mixing it up with different martial arts with the monsters and putties and other adversaries they'll come across. So it just gives them a little bit of background so we'll know how to build them out properly utilizing the system. So we've got that down. First step is we're going to choose an origin. So origins in this system are a little bit different than you expect. It's kind of a mixture of a little bit of a background if you're used to 5e, but it comes with quite a bit more that a background doesn't usually have in the 5e system. So we're going to choose our origin. You'll see on the left-hand side kind of what comes with the origins. You'll see it comes with essence increase options, which we're going to go into essence a little bit later. It comes with your starting health, which is kind of a major. This is one of the pitfalls I'd point out, or not pitfalls, something that I tripped up on a little bit earlier. Health comes from your origin, which if you're like me coming from 5e, you'd expect it to be with the roll. That's not the case here. So your essence starts you off, and there's a skill that allows you to get more in there too. So just a little bit different altogether. Also, bonus skills. This is another one that tripped me up a little bit. And before we get into bonus skills, I want to give a shout out to the Discord community on for the Power Rangers Renegade RPG system. So it's on the Renegade Discord, and I'm going to put a link in the description. But the Power Rangers community in particular is just so welcoming, so open to answering questions and just even dumb questions. I asked some dumb questions initially. They're just welcoming. They walked you through it. It just made sure you knew how to play the system. Just a really cool community to jump into, and just kind of I've been a part of numerous TTRPG communities, especially their Discords, and sometimes they can be a little kind of or hostile. I wouldn't say hostile, but sometimes unwelcoming to new players. But not this one. They are super welcoming. They're willing to go through questions with you, no matter how dumb or how many other times people have asked it, and make sure you find an answer. They really want to get more people playing the system. I want to give a shout out to the community manager, Brian, as well as Spy Dalek, which is, I think, how you say their Discord tag. They've helped me out quite a bit with questions I've had as a system as I prepared for my own game and prepared for these videos. So links in the description. Go check them out if you're interested. They've got some great wisdom there and a cool community too. But one of the questions I had to ask for some help on, because the FAQ in this document, I feel like they conflict a little bit, but the FAQ is right, confirmed by the community. I'll include a link to the FAQ document too. But bonus skills, and the way they've written, and you see it on the screen, to me it read like you got all of these skills that are included on over here for our athletic is Jason's athletic guy. That's one we're choosing for him. So like the athletics, you'd get like all of these. At least that's the way I read it initially, which could just be like, hey, Tegan, that's dumb. You read it wrong. But that's the way I read it. But fortunately, the Discord community and the FAQ helped me realize that you get to pick one of those for the corresponding trait that you picked an essence point increase for. So, good bit of knowledge there. You also get ground movement and an origin benefit. So, as we said, athletics is for Jason. He's an athletics guy. As we said before, origins are kind of where you started off before you got the power. So this is just kind of your background before becoming a ranger. He was definitely an athletic guy before becoming a ranger, master martial artist. So we're picking athletic for him. So starting health, we start off at 2. So a little bit of a bonus there versus the 1 sometimes you usually get. Essence score increase, you get to pick between strength and speed. We're going to pick strength. Also, for this too, you get to pick between some of those essence skill options for the bonus. One thing we'll get into more on for skills, your essence points determine how many different skills you have within that essence skill or essence kind of trait to be able to pick out. So we're going to pick strength and we're going to pick might as his skill bonus too. So get a little bit of background there. We also, ground movement speed, he's quick. We get 40 feet of ground movement. And then he gets the origin benefit, always training, which allows you to roll a D2 for any strength, speed, skill that you're not already possessing levels in. So just a little bit of a bonus there. He's naturally athletic. So even if he's not the most acrobatic, he's got some baseline for it, which is cool. So we've got our origin. So we got step 2 done, but step 1 of the big 3. So your origin, your role, and your influence. So origin's done. Let's go to your role, which is kind of the spectrum you'll fill on the Ranger team. So with our guy, he's Jason. He's a Red Ranger. We're going to go through to the Red Ranger section and see kind of what cool goodies he's going to get. Sweet. So jumping in there, my team, I don't know if I mentioned this already, we're starting at level 3. I wanted them to have Zords, so we're going to be building a level 3 Red Ranger. A couple things to note as you look at this. Table is pretty similar to D&D. You got the 1 through 20 laid out with the role perks you get for each level, as well as your personal power capacity. So power capacity, kind of think of it like spell points. There are different things you can utilize to use either the grid powers you picked up or your role perks, and you spend a power point to use them. Like for Jason, we'll get into his power strike. You spend one of your power points to use that power strike. Pretty simple there. And with roll level 3, level 3 will still be at 2 power points for him, and he refreshes those 2 per day. Training. Now this is what's a little interesting on both fronts. We're going to start with the armor because that's something I had to ask for help for again. So hopefully, me kind of stepping into the hole and falling into the pit will help you save some time for your old crew. Training of the armor is a little bit different. So you'll see with our guy, he's got light, medium, and heavy armor. So remember, heavy armor, this is going to apply when it comes to morphin time. So we're going to touch a little bit more on morphin time, but for now, remember he has heavy armor. You also see they've got the starting skill ranks. They advise you putting or they say you have to put 2 in might and 1 in persuasion. You'll see this lines up with 2. Each level you get essence score increases. So you get 2 for strength and then 1 for social. And then for level 1, level 2, another point in social, level 3, another point in speed. What it is I want to point out, so if you're building a level 1 character, we're going to get into this a little bit more when we get to the essence section. But you start off with 12 free points. So 12 free points that aren't assigned anywhere. But then you also get 4 points split between 1 from your origin and then 3 from your roll that'll be pre-assigned. So you're going to get overall 16 essence points totals. So that's important. Remember that you get 16 essence points total if you start off with level 1. With our guy, we'll have 18 essence points total. That just kind of plays into how many skills you get and where those skills are allocated. So just something to keep in mind. But we'll take a look at a couple of his cool features that we get there, especially it's morphing time. So remember I told you to remember that you've got heavy armor training, which is +4. When you morph, you kind of go, it's morphin time, your Tyrannosaurus Rex for the Red Ranger, your power fills you, your armor kind of coats you with the red coating, you have your power shell on. What that does at base level, even if you don't have any of the additional armor selected in this book, at base level when you morph, you get your highest armor, or the armor that you choose, training, or the armor's training that you choose. So you could choose your highest, which most likely you would, unless you have some type of perk or ability that would make you choose another. So with Jason, he has heavy armor training, so he has a +4 to toughness. Remember that as we build out the PC. Kind of cool there. Also, as a free action, you get to summon any of your power weapons and all of that, and some other cool morphin stuff we won't go into. But for Jason, you get Power Strike as level 1 ability, which allows you to spend a grid or a power point and actually get an extra damage off per attack. You can do that twice per day. Also, Follow Me, which is a cool one, which allows you to have any of your teammates who'd like to allow you to roll initiative for the group. So you'd roll initiative. Like say you've got 4 Rangers on your team. Let's say all 3 Rangers say, hey, Jason, we trust you. We're following you into battle. You would roll initiative for Jason, +3. But you'd and then everybody else would roll a d4, and they'd minus that from your initiative, and that's where they'd go. So if you're Jason, you probably want to make sure you've got a decent initiative score so you can bump that up high and get your team in a good position for the combats to come. Then you get Weapon Mastery too. So if you're rolling a power weapon on your skill die, if you roll a 1 or a 2, you can get to re-roll that, and hopefully you don't get another 1 or 2. And then Zord stuff. This video is not going to touch on Zords. I may do another video on Zords. I haven't decided yet. For my crew, we're just going to be using the Mighty Morphin Zords just to keep life simple. So we've got that. So we've built out our ranger. We know what we're using for our essence points from our ranger. We've got our different origin chosen. We've got our color chosen. Now our last big thing to choose is the influence. So influence is kind of cool. So if origin's who you were before you get your powers, your influence is just who you are overall. And Jason, he is a martial artist to heart. This gives you an influence perk as well as a hang-up that you can use for your PC. So, influence perk is something that you can have an extra feature that relates to your background as a martial artist. He'll be able to, if he spends a minute studying someone, he'll be able to see if their threat level is higher than his or lower, or kind of where he matches up on threat, toughness, and evasion. Which is cool. You're a master martial artist. Jason is for sure. This will allow you to kind of get a good view of where everything is coming up. So that's where you get. You also get some cool background bonds and specialties too. If you wanted to roll table it to see kind of what some influences of what type of martial arts they do. So we've got our roll, we've got our influence, we've got our origin. We've got those big 3 things set up. The last thing we're going to take a look at before we actually go in and start building are essence scores. So, the 4 S's of the essence scores: strength, speed, social, smarts. Those are the big 4. And These are kind of the core attributes. Like if you're familiar to D&D, these are like your strength, your charisma, your dexterity, etc. So you've got 4 of them here, but they kind of function in a little bit of a different manner than other systems, and it's kind of cool. I like it. Basically, with those 4 systems, each of those essence points that you put into one. So let's say if you put 8 strength in, 8 points into strength. Between your origin scores, your ones you got from your roll, and just the 12 you get for free. Within those 8 points, you can spend those on strength based skills. So let's go to the strength side. So you could spend a point on the strength based skills to increase your die that you roll. And actually, let's go with that die look real quick. So what that means is increase the die you roll. So you'll see this on the using skills table. We're just going to look at the ones in white, the actual dice. So if you're not proficient in something, you would just roll the base die for it. But if you're proficient, you'd roll your base die, which is a d20, plus a d2. If you have another point, or I shouldn't say proficient, if you've got points in there, skill levels in there, you'd roll a d2. If you got 2 skill levels, you'd roll a d4, and so on. So each point in increases the number of dice you can roll. So for spending those points, you could spend them on getting better dice, but you could also spend them on a specialization. So we're going to go back to Might, because we're going to pick 2 specializations for Jason. Just 2 things I think he does well or would really fit his overall build. So for Might, we're going to put 3 dice in there, which is going to put him at D6. And for specialization, we're going to pick martial arts and power weapons. What that means is if he does an attack that's martial arts or does something that's martial arts based for Might, we'll roll the D6, the D4, and the D2 because he's specialized in martial arts. And you don't get to add them all in, that'd be dope, but you don't. What it allows you to do is get some consistency though. Let's say you had a bad roll and you rolled a 1 on your D6, but you had a good roll on your D4 and rolled a 4. If you have specialization in that, you could pick that 4 instead of the D6 and add that into whatever your D20 roll is. And that would be your roll for the encounter. So it's kind of a cool thing on that side. Both the essence points and getting the additional dice cost 1 point. So we have to kind of split between those as you build out your PC. So now that we've kind of gone through those points, we're going to go into Roll20 and start inputting some data in. And I did pre-fill a little bit of it too, just be cautious of time, just so you kind of see how the system functions. So we've got some information in. We've got Jason, he's he, him, athletic, Red Ranger, level 3. Cool. We've got those pieces built in and acknowledged through the system. Also, we've got his personal power. He starts off at 2. But let's go over to strength right now because there's a couple things that matter as we go through this. So, you see, I put him 8 strength. He's a very strong dude, very focused on his martial arts. So puts him 8 strength. Each essence has a kind of like a defensive stat tied to it too, where you add 10 plus whatever your essence is. So toughness, 18, because it's 10 plus 8. Also, as I told you earlier, armor, he's got that plus 4 bonus. So when he's morphed, he gets a 22. And I kind of filled in some of the other athletics, other strength-based scores in there too, just so we didn't have to waste time filling them in. But I'm going to focus on might. So as I said, I put 3 points in there, which bumped him up from a 0 to a D6. And I included 2 specializations for his martial arts and power weapons. So if he utilizes any of those and we clicked on the roll, it would give him the option to roll with specialization and give a little bit more consistency to his dice. And you see, I kind of went through and did this for all of the different power or essence scores. For sake of time, I won't go through them. Actually, the one I will go through that I didn't touch on. So strength, conditioning. Conditioning is a cool one and one you want to focus on. So as I mentioned, we got 2 health starting off as a athletic origin. But if you want more health, you need to buy points in conditioning. So I put 2 points in the conditioning, gave me a D4, but that also gave me 2 points of health, giving him 4 total health for his ranger. Cool. So we've got that in there. You've got all the other essence scores. The big thing, though, is, as I mentioned, a point in an essence equals a skill point or specialization you could buy. As you finish building your ranger, make sure that your skill points add up because they should equal your essence points. So let's just do this for strength just because it's easy. So athletics, we've got 1 point there, so 1. Conditioning, 2 points there, puts us up to 3. Might, we put 3 points into his just his dice rolls, and then we put 2 specializations, 8 total. We add it up. Cool. Makes it easy as a GM, makes it easy as a player to make sure everybody's on track. So we've went through, we've put some of those data into Roll20. Now we're going to go and take a look at equipment. And that's something I wanted to kind of separate out because it's a little bit of a different section, or a little bit of a different look than some of the other systems. So we're going to get back into the book and take a look at equipment. We're going to kind of jump around a little bit though, because I want to go to armor first, because this is something that's a little bit weird. So you'll see power armor here. So you see all the Rangers gain the basic armor inherently built into their suits. So that's where we got that +4 from. But you can additionally have other armor to help out and get a little bit of additional bonus to it too. So my crew is using Mighty Morphin armor. So we'll put Mighty Morphin in. You'll get a +1 to toughness and the deflective trait. So that'll bump his bonus up to 5 for toughness, and he'll have a 23 toughness score. So cool on that side. So armor is easy. We're only going to go through and build one weapon. We're going to build his power sword out here. So weapons, you get all these weapons. You see they've got a number of different traits, sizes, and skills that go along with them. So for Jason and our Red Ranger, he's always going to roll might with his. So we put all of his points in the might, so he gets a d6. And since we're specialized in power weapons, he'll get to roll that d6, d4, d2, pick the highest of the 3. Cool. So brawling, so that's one of the martial arts ones. You'll see on that side. So basically, both of his skills are specialization. So with brawling, if we wanted to build that one in the system, we'd go into brawling. We'll click on might as a skill for it, and then click on. So if you scroll to the next page, you can see it's on 2 pages, which is nice if you have the physical book. So you see with this, it's reach. So just kind of as far as his fist will go. 0 hands, because you could use your legs if you like to too. You get stun 1. So stun 1, what that means is for stun, if you get stunned, if a successful hit lands, it'll stun the person and they'd lose the move action for one of their turns, or for however many turns it is listed in the box. So that's stun 1, they'd lose 1 turn. And if you have the amount roll or the amount on the number equals their HP or more than their HP, it knocks them unconscious. It's like a putty. If you're using martial arts, even unmorphed, you can hit a putty and knock them out because the putties have 1 HP, or 1 health, I should say. So cool on that side. But we're not going to build the martial arts or the brawling. We're going to build the power sword. So you should see the power sword over here. So a couple things to check out here. So it's a might-based weapon, which is cool. We specialized in might. It is a medium melee weapon. So cool on that side. And if you see, if it lines up over here, basically you get sharp 1 as your effect, but you can also take an alternate effect for your hits or your attacks too. So for alternate effects for this, you get sharp 2 if you're holding it 2 hands. And if you want to, you can do an energy attack, which you can do, I think, once per a day, or once per encounter, that will do 3 energy damage, but lowers your dice by 1. So cool on that side. So we've kind of went through, he's going to have, so for overall, for what you got as a Red Ranger, you get your power sword. So we're going to build the power sword. You're going to see me walk through that. You get your unarmed strikes, because every Ranger gets that. And the nice thing too with the unarmed strikes is we went over the might one for brawling, but you could also do strike if you want to be a more finesse player. So cool on that side too. Where finesse is going to trace off speed versus the might and the strength. But you also get a blade blaster. So those are the little blasters they've got. They have the blade. They can flip it into blaster mode. So you get all 3 of those to start off with. But today, we're just going to build the power sword. So I'm going to flip back into the Roll20 sheet. We're going to go through and build that power sword. So, sweet. We're going to go to Weapons. Click Edit here. And we're going to build in our power sword. So we're just going to name it Power Sword. This is a might-based weapon, so we're going to click Might. Size, medium. Style is melee. This is a reach weapon. As well, it takes one hand, but you can two-hand it. And your primary effect with this is sharp 1. But you could also do sharp 2 if you two-hand. The traits that it has, sharp, silent, and I like to put this in there because it's a specialization. Now, this video will cover it, and I will be using it for my game, but you can also do a lot of cool upgrades with these weapons and really kind of make them your own. But for today, we're just going to do a basic-ass power sword. So, now we've got our power sword in there. We'd roll it. If you click on it, it'd roll your d6. We have specialization in there. It'd ask you, do you want to utilize your specialization? And you could use that specialization to make sure you get your roll in there the way you'd like to have it, which I thought was kind of a cool way to do it. So let's do that. Let's actually roll one so you can kind of see how that roll process goes. So just a second, you're going to see my screen flip over to our Power Rangers channel. So you should see the Power Rangers going up now. So we clicked on our roll on that side. So you see it's going to ask us a couple of questions. Are you using specialization? Yes, we are. Skill shift change. So one of the things too is you saw that table that we went over. Your DM can pump and minus your skill dice up depending on what the situation is going on. So like let's say you're fighting putties in the rain and you're trying to do a jump kick. It's a little slippery. Maybe he's like, hey, we're going to bump you down a die. But we're just going to say no change for this one to keep it easy. And the difficulty, so your DM should tell you what the difficulty is because that matters for critical successes. So we're going to say it's a 15. And then edge, snag, or normal. So this is advantage, disadvantage, or regular. We're going to roll it regular. There you go. I must have double clicked on it. So that was so they rolled the brawl one. So I clicked, I don't know why I didn't click on the one. We'll do it one more time just so you can see it again. So use a specialization. No skill change. Difficulty, 15. Normal roll. Oh, sweet. You got it there again. So you see it rolled with the brawl, which showed you, so we had the specialization. So it rolled the 1d2, 1d4, 1d6, and keep it the highest one. The d4 got the 4, like we said in our example. And also it adds that to your d20 roll. Unfortunately, this would be a failure. So this would be a more difficult one. Usually it'll be a little easier on that side, but the dice weren't with us. So just kind of a quick look through there. But overall, I hope you guys liked a quick run through of how to build a Power Ranger using Roll20 in the system. As you see, it's pretty easy once you get used to some of the rules and the rolls and all of that. My only thing I would mention is Roll20, you still there's a lot of clicks that you go through. So you go to your specialization, your dice shift, your difficulty, your snags, no snags. But it's cool because it allows you to go through and make sure that everything that you have is being represented. And especially for specializations, I know for different features I've had for other games where I've had them on the paper but forgotten them. So while there's a lot of dice check or dice clicks, it does make sure you get everything that you should have on there. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're new to the channel, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'm doing small goals, so I'm hoping to get to 25 subscribers by the end of the next month. So drop a subscribe there. Also, join us April 5th. T&J Gaming on Twitch. Drop a follow there for the live play game and enter to win for your chance to win a gift card to Renegade Games and buy your own Power Ranger PDF and bring the adventure back to your table. So check that out. But overall, thank you guys for joining me, and may the power protect you.